Yeah. USA, 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 USA. Wah! Yes. Now, I have something I want to ask you to do, though, because obviously we're somewhat preaching to the converted in this stadium, but there's a lot of people out there who need to vote for President Trump. Okay, so this is a real battle. This is a real election battle. So you need to get friends and family to vote. Make sure they vote early. This is important. We're going to be putting up a scorecard, okay? An early vote scorecard, state by state, county by county. What is the scorecard? Vote early. Vote now. Yeah. Make the margin of victory so big that you know what can't happen. Massive, overwhelming sweep of every swing state, and even some of the states that people don't think are swing states. Massive, crushing victory. Get everyone, friends, family, people on the street. Put the signs up, put the hat on. Let's go. And with that, it is my honor to introduce the First Lady, Melania Trump.
Good evening, New York City. Hello, Madison Square Garden. Our hometown, where architectural symbols of strength, courage, and unity create a canvas for the world's undisputed capital of industry. Where titans of finance, fashion, and entertainment convene among an iconic range of superior design, structures, and artistic accomplishments. And American ingenuity blossoms among determined citizens who race across city streets and between offices, striving for success. It is you who are the heartbeat of this great metropolis. It is you who are the pulse of this America. Yet, New York City is unforgiving. In fact, our lives are complicated even during the best of times. And sadly, today, a declining quality of life coupled with economic instability makes it difficult for business to thrive. Love you too. Crime is on the rise, while public safety diminishes, creating an environment where families with young children choose to relocate. And this story repeats itself from coast to coast across our nation. This is America. For generations, this town has produced America's most fearless leaders, whose mark changed the course of the world. New York City and America needs their magic back. A country of tomorrow that will shape our future and reset expectations for the generations. Envision a wonderful America where the seeds of security, prosperity, and health are sown once again for benefit of our families. Let us charge together with a shared vision that builds on American greatness. Let's seize this moment and create a country for tomorrow, the future that we deserve. And now, please welcome our next Commander-in-Chief, my husband, President Donald J. Trump.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life. And I had to start again, just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much to a very popular former First Lady, hopefully First Lady again. And I just want to say a very big hello to a special place, New York, and to an incredible arena, Madison Square Garden. Incredible. The people that could fill it up 10 times. You take a look at outside what's going on all the way down to the river, the beautiful, beautiful Hudson River. They're outside watching this now at levels that nobody's ever seen before. They've never had it. And I want to thank Jim Dolan. He's been incredible. He's been just incredible. The job they've done. Thank you. But I'm thrilled to be back in the city I love, and thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. You're with me. We're all together. We've always been together. And I'd like to begin by asking a very simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the invasion of criminals coming into our country. And I will bring back the American dream. We need the American dream to come back home. Our country will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. This election is a choice between whether we will have 4 more years of gross incompetence and failure, or whether we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. We will achieve success that no one can imagine. We will have the strongest economy, the most secure borders, the safest cities, the most powerful military, the best trade deals, and we will dominate the frontiers of science, medicine, business, technology, and space. And I'm asking you to be excited about the future of our country again. I'm asking you to dream big again. We're going to dream big again. We haven't been dreaming big at all. This will be America's new golden age. It's going to happen quickly, too, very quickly. Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands. Next Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala Harris that you've done a terrible job, that crooked Biden has done a terrible job. You've destroyed our country. We're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get out, get out. You're fired. Early voting is underway in every swing state, and we are setting all-time records. They're voting, I tell you what. I don't want to talk about it, but we have to keep it going. You got to get out and vote. We just have to get out. And who would have thought this was going to happen? We're leading in every swing state. But it doesn't mean a thing. It only means how are we doing at the end. So look, we have 9 days from now, and we're going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we're going to win back the beautiful White House, and we're going to make America great again, and it's going to happen fast. Thank you. In less than 4 years, Kamala Harris has shattered our middle class. She cast the deciding votes that launched the worst inflation in the history of our country. She cost the typical American family over $3,000 in a short period, but over $30,000 over the last 3 years. She killed 50,000 manufacturing jobs this year alone. Now Kamala wants to raise the typical family taxes by nearly $3,000 a year and impose a 33% tax hike on all domestic production. If Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, our economy can never recover. If I win, we will quickly build the greatest economy in the history of the world. Which is what we had in our last term. We will rapidly defeat inflation, and we will very simply make America affordable again. We're going to make it affordable. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses, and we will have no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. And I'm announcing a new policy today that I will support a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of a parent or a loved one. It's about time that they were recognized, right? They add so much to our country and are never spoken of, ever, 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 but they're going to be spoken of now. Thank you all very much. I'll also make interest on car loans fully tax deductible, but only for cars made in America. Have to be made in America. And we will achieve energy independence, and we will do something. We want it so badly. We're going to do something. You know what we're going to do? Front row Joes. You know, I got front row Joes here. I got The ladies from North Carolina, number 249. This is the 200, and you look so beautiful. We have a lot of people, they followed us, but we're going to do something. The ladies can tell you what we're going to do. We're going to drill a baby drill. And I will terminate the Green New Scam, and we'll cut your energy prices in half, 50%, within 1 year from January 20th. Is the fake news hearing that? Whoa! Look how much. Wow, that's a lot of fake news. That is a lot of fake news. Look at that. Wow. That's got to be a record, Mr. Speaker. I think that's a record. That is a lot of fakers back there. To bring back millions of jobs, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. Remember this, if we keep going like this, we won't have the biggest and the best. We won't have a market, we won't have a country. But only for those who make their product here in the USA and hire American workers for the job. And if these companies don't make their products here, then they will pay a very stiff tariff when they send their products into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers and our now protected companies. We're going to protect our companies. They're not leaving anymore. They're not leaving anymore. We're also going to pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, meaning if China or any other country charges us 100 or 200% tax or tariff, we will then charge them a 100 or 200% tax or tariff. It's called an eye for an eye. And I will never apologize for defending America. I will protect our workers. I will protect our jobs. I will protect our borders. I will protect our great families. And I will protect the birthright of our children to live in the richest and most powerful nation on the face of the earth. As we rescue our economy, I will also restore our borders. There's never been anything like it. It's bigger than inflation. It's bigger than the economy. What they're doing to our country, they're allowing criminals from all over the world to enter our country. Over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted upon our people. She has violated her oath, eradicated our sovereign border, and unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against our citizens. There has never been anything like it anywhere in the world for any country. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, insane asylums and mental institutions from all around the world, from Venezuela to the Congo. A lot of people are coming from the Congo prisons. They're coming from all over the world. Over the last month, 181 countries violated our laws. And she has resettled them into your communities to prey upon innocent American citizens. But the day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion of our country ends and the restoration of our country begins. One of the deadliest and most vicious migrant gangs that Kamala has imported into our country is the savage Venezuelan prison gang. Nice group of people. They got together in prison, the worst prison in the world, they say. It's called Tren de Aragua. And that is taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent killing spree all over America, especially in Aurora
Colorado, where we have a governor who's petrified of them, and maybe he should be. But now they've even taken over Times Square. Take a look.
Orders deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America.
It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about lack of crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented cross-border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE. Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
He was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez and Angel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders, who was arrested by Border Patrol near Roma, Texas, then released into America.
That's who we're allowing into our country. We're not going to have a country any longer. That's who we're allowing in. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. Not going to be happening. Not going to be happening. November 5th, 2024, 9 days from now, will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be Liberation Day. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history to get the criminals out. I will rescue every city and town that has been invaded and conquered, and we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail. We're going to kick them the hell out of our country as fast as possible. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and other savage gangs like MS-13, which is equally vicious, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. That's how far back. That's when they had law and order. They had some tough ones. Think of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. You hear that, Mr. Speaker? Get ready. To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And there are lots of them. We don't have the same country anymore, you know that. And you know, when you look at the polls and they say about the economy and they have all these different things, the worst nightmare that we're facing is what they've done to us on our borders. We had the safest border in the world. In fact, there's a chart, which I hope they have, because I didn't tell them I wanted it, but there's a chart that I love very much because I wouldn't be here without it. That's it. I love it. I'm in love with it. I love that chart. Even if it had bad numbers, I would have loved that chart, but it doesn't. It has great numbers. And if you look at the arrow on the bottom, you'll see that was the day I left office. That was the lowest illegal immigration that we've ever had in recorded history, the recorded history of our country. And then look at it. It was like an Elon Musk rocket ship. Look at what happens. Look at what happened after that. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer. Under Kamala, America is a sanctuary for criminals and for illegal aliens that are in our country illegally. I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States. Kamala's gross incompetence disqualifies her from being president of the United States of America. She is grossly incompetent. All you have to do is look at her interviews, look at what she did the other night on fake news, CNN. Just take a look. She couldn't answer a question. She's unfit for office. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. Everyone knows she is a very low IQ individual. From humiliating our country in Afghanistan to the war in Ukraine, to the nightmare on our border, to her inflation catastrophe, all done in conjunction with Sleepy Joe. But he was largely sleeping, wasn't he? After 4 o'clock, it's time to go to bed. To his and her egregious hurricane response, the worst response in North Carolina and other states since Katrina, but I think it was even worse than Katrina. They haven't even responded in North Carolina. They haven't even responded. There's nobody. They don't see any FEMA. You know why? They spent their money on bringing in illegal migrants. So they didn't have money for Georgia and North Carolina and Alabama and Tennessee and Florida and South Carolina. They didn't have any money for them. They spent all of their money on bringing in illegal immigrants and flying them in by beautiful jet planes. They flew in. We just found that about a year and a half ago. Remember, we said, what's going on? Those planes, a lot of planes going over there. What are they? They would fly them into the middle of our country, our beautiful, beautiful country. And you know what happened? You take a look at Springfield, Ohio. Think of this. Think of this. Where 30,000 illegal migrants were put into a town of 50,000 people. No place can withstand that. Or take a look at Aurora in Colorado. Colorado is going to vote for us. You know why? Typically, they go a little bit the other way. Of course, with their voting system, I'm not so sure about that. But you know why? Because they tried to throw the leading candidate of both parties, meaning me. I was leading both parties off the ballot. And the people of Colorado, including Democrats, are very angry about it. They are a threat to democracy, to use their term. Isn't it nice to have somebody that's your president that doesn't need a teleprompter? We haven't been on teleprompter for a long time. I haven't been on this teleprompter. No, it is nice. You saw the other day where Kamala got a little stuck on the teleprompter, went a little bad. It stopped on her. You have to be, if you're a politician, you have to be able to handle that. Remember? You have to do the weave, he says. You got to do more than the weave. But it happens a lot as a politician. It happens. I mean, we have so many politicians here, great ones, really great, 'cause some are not so good, but great ones. And when Newt, or when the Speaker, or when Tommy Tuberville, who's here someplace, the great senator from Alabama, or when any one of our literally 75, by the way, should I introduce all of them by name? I should. Should I? No? Yes? I don't know. It's a lot. Speaker, should I? I don't know. Will they be angry at me? Yeah, they will. It's a lot of introducing, right? Let's keep going with the speech, huh? But you know, when you have when you're in this profession, I have a friend who wanted to come in. I said, you like speaking? Well, I do, but I have a great fear of speaking. I said, don't be a politician. If you have a fear of speaking, don't be a politician. But one thing you have to know is that no matter how good your people are that operate this machinery, it's going to break. And you're going to be out there all by yourself a lot. And you got to be able to do so. 3 weeks ago, she was saying there was only 32 days left, right? And she's reading it like, there's 32 days. And it stopped. And she went, there's 32 days. 32. 32. And I was watching. I said, this isn't pretty. 32. She was gone. And then, damn it, it kicked back on. She was gone. We've had it. Happens a lot. And don't forget, you got all those people back there. Now, they don't talk about her, but if that ever happened, it happens all the time. I was campaigning in Ohio for a very, very, Bernie Moreno, he's doing a good job. I think he's maybe going to win in Ohio. The problem he's got, his opponent, Brown, Sherrod Brown, he's taking ads in like he's my best friend. He never votes for me. He's not my best friend. Ohio's been very friendly to Trump. We win it all the time by a landslide, but the opponent is taking ads. I got 4 of them. I think we have 4 of them, right? They're taking ads. All of a sudden, they love Trump. We agree with Trump on tariffs. We agree with Trump on the border. We love Trump. And they're Democrats. They have friends calling up. Did they switch to the Republican Party? But it happened with Bernie Moreno. I was in Ohio to try and get him over the initial primary hump. And it was 45-mile-an-hour winds, and these suckers were blowing like, you ever try reading a teleprompter where it's moving about 2 feet in each? But I didn't have to worry about that because even worse, they ended up blowing off the stage a lot of it. So I'm now in the first sentence, and I got 28,000 people and millions of people watching on television. I got no teleprompter. And did I do a good job, Mr. Speaker? And he won. And he won, huh? Thank you, Matt. And he won. And so you're up there all alone. We don't go 32, 32, 32, oh my God, whatever. Kamala Harris is a train wreck who has destroyed everything in her path. To make her president would be a gamble with the lives of millions and millions of people. She would get us into World War III. We're very close to World War III. If you don't have a smart president, if you don't have a president that gets it, if you don't have a president that is respected by the other side, and they did respect us 4 years ago, they really respected us. Iran was broke. They had no money. Russia wouldn't have played with us at all. Russia would have never gone into Ukraine. Israel, October 7th, would never, ever have happened. Would have never have happened. All those people would be alive right now, those people that were killed on that horrible day. But if you don't have a president that gets it, you know what else you wouldn't have had? You wouldn't have had the most embarrassing day in the history of our country, in my opinion, Afghanistan, the way not that they got out, we were getting out, but we were going to get out with dignity and strength. We got out an embarrassment, the likes of which this country has never suffered. And because of that, Putin looked at us and they probably figured we were a paper tiger, and he went into Ukraine, and the rest is history. It would have never happened with us. and you wouldn't have had any inflation. You know, we had the best economy, but we had no inflation. And inflation has destroyed a lot of seniors on fixed income, and a lot of people in this room have been virtually destroyed by inflation. You wouldn't have had inflation. They screwed up our energy, and it went up so much. And then they started spending far too much money on things like the Green New Scam, which is just a scam, just a complete scam. They actually admitted that, if you think about it. But she would get us into World War III because she's incompetent, can't do the job, unfit for it. And then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting a little notice. They'll say, Mom, Dad, what is this little green piece of paper? Ay, 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 darling, that's a draft notice. They're drafting you to go and fight in some country that I've never heard this country. I've never heard of this country before. Oh no, I don't want my baby to fight. I don't want my baby to be killed. What they did in Afghanistan with those 13 great soldiers, I've gotten to know the parents so well, and leaving all of that equipment behind and leaving Americans behind, and many, many people with no legs and no arms, all because of incompetent people. But we don't want your sons and daughters to get a little draft notice and you have to explain to them what it means. We're tired of fighting. I'm the only president in the last 84 years that didn't start a war. Remember Crooked Hillary? Remember Crooked Hillary Clinton? Crooked Hillary, oh, she was a beauty. During one of our many debates, she said, look at him, listen to him. He's going to start a war. Listen to his rhetoric. He's going to start a war. I said, no, no, no. My rhetoric is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. 82 years. Other than I finished off ISIS, but that was already started. We had stupid generals like Milley and Mattis, weak, stupid people. But fear not, we have great generals, just not the ones that you see on television all the time. And we wiped them out very quickly. It was going to take 5 years. Mattis said it would take 5 years, and I'm not sure we could do it. It took us like 4 weeks. We have great generals. We have the greatest military in the world. Just a lot of people don't know that. And everybody knows it, but you know, I saw the other day a report that they issued that if we end up in a war with China, we cannot win, we're not strong enough. So I said to myself, assuming that's true, how stupid are you to put out a report like that? How stupid. Why would you put out a report? Then they'll say, oh, Trump is not truthful. No, I'm smart. You don't put out reports like that. And it's not true. We would kick their ass. It's not true. Our enemies are laughing at her. They want her to win so badly. Oh, they don't want Trump. They don't want Trump. I've made this position a very dangerous one because of that. That's why. It's a very dangerous. You know, if you drive a race car, you have 1/10 of 1% chance of dying. If you ride the bulls, I think the bulls are pretty nasty, right? You have about the same 1/10 of 1% of dying. If you become president of the United States, you got a hell of a shot at dying. I never knew that when I ran. I never thought about it, but here we are. Here we are. And I'm okay with it. And I would rather be here than any place in the world. It's called a very dangerous profession. But if we win, our enemies won't be laughing anymore. They're not going to be laughing. And you know what? The truth is, I got along with all of them. I got along with Putin. Ukraine was the apple of his eye, but I said, Vladimir, don't go in. Remember, I ended the pipeline in Europe. I ended the pipeline in Europe. And then when Biden came in, he approved it. But he ended the Keystone pipeline, the one. A little mixed up, didn't he, huh? Nord Stream 2, I said, we're ending Nord Stream 2. Everybody said, what is Nord Stream 2? I said, that's the massive Russian pipeline where they're going to make a fortune, where they're going to Germany and all countries in Europe. So I said, you mean we're fighting to help them with NATO and spending all of that money, and they're paying the person and the group that we're fighting billions of dollars a month? What the hell are we doing? I ended it. It was dead. And Biden came along and he approved it. Weak. Look, 30 years ago, he was not considered smart either. So now he's really not smart. If we win, America will be respected, and even if it's necessary, feared again. It's not the worst word. On issue after issue, Kamala broke it, but I will fix it. We're going to fix it. But we're just not running against Kamala. I think a lot of our politicians here tonight know this. She means nothing. She's purely a vessel. That's all she is. When you see her up there talking about the grass on my front lawn, I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood and I had grass on my front lawn. Yeah, but we're asking, what would you do to fix the country? And why didn't you do it? You had almost 4 years. Why didn't you do this stuff? Now she's, she's becoming more MAGA than those politicians I just told you about from the different states. She can't put two sentences together. She's just like, she's really just like, in many ways, crooked Joe Biden. And she never said to us, she never told us that Joe was not functioning properly. She should have. Because, we're talking about the life of the most important country in the world. We need very smart people. We're running against something far bigger than Joe or Kamala, and far more powerful than them, which is a massive, vicious, crooked, radical left machine that runs today's Democrat Party. They're just vessels. In fact, they're perfect vessels because they'll never give them a hard time. They'll do whatever they want. I know many of them. It's just this amorphous group of people. But they're smart and they're vicious. And we have to defeat them. And when I say the enemy from within, the other side goes crazy, becomes a sound. Oh, how can he say? No, they've done very bad things to this country. They are indeed the enemy from within. But this is who we're fighting. These are the people who are doing such harm to our country with their open border policies, record-setting inflation, Green New Scam, and everything else that they're doing. But we're not going to let it happen any longer. We're going to have the biggest victory in the history of our country on November 5th. It's going to be the biggest victory in history. We're going to make America great again, everybody. On top of it all, Kamala says she would not do one thing differently from Joe Biden, which is totally disqualifying. And you have to remember this, all of the mistakes he made.
today that wants to divide Americans. It's the party that is dismantling women's sports by letting men play women's sports. It's the party of Wall Street. It's the party of Bill Gates, who just gave $50 million to Kamala Harris. It's the party, and the Harris campaign is very proud that it received this. We don't even know how Kamala Harris received the nomination. And this is the party of Wall Street, of big banks, of big data, of big tech, of the military contractors, and the parties of big pharma, big ag, big food, and big chemicals. It is the party that's given us the sickest children in the history of the world. When my uncle was president, 6% of Americans had chronic disease, and we spent 0 on chronic disease in this country. Today, 60% of Americans have chronic disease. This is existential for our country. We're spending $4.3 trillion a year, 5 times our military budget. 77% of American boys cannot qualify for military service because of chronic disease diagnoses. This is existential for our country. President Trump called me 3 hours after his shooting. He said, would I come and sit down with them? And he said to me during that meeting, he said, there are some things that we can agree on and some we disagree on, but the landscapes on which we agree are so much larger. He said, I want to end the wars. I want to end this surveillance and censorship. I want to protect the Constitution. I want to protect freedom of speech. I want to end the surveillance. I want to end the weaponization of government against American politicians. And I want to end the chronic disease epidemic. Now, don't you think that we deserve a president in this country who's going to restore the moral authority of the United States of America? Don't you think that we deserve a president who's going to end the warfare state and rebuild the middle class? Don't you want a president who's going to put America first? And don't you want a president who's going to protect our children? And who's going to protect women's sports? And who's going to stop dividing this country along racial lines? And don't you want a president who's going to end the corruption at
Boom.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Gary?
How's life?
We got, whenever everybody else turns on their camera, we got everybody in here. Sorry, I sprung it on you guys. I was streaming the Trump rally, and before we started with the health topic, I definitely wanted to touch on RFK. Anybody that doesn't know, Make America Healthy Again, wants to talk about the poisons and the toxins in our food and our medications. And so, yeah, I figured that would be a good segue into starting the show. How's everybody doing?
Great. Let's start with the introductions, everybody. We got a bunch of new faces.
All right. Well, everybody knows I'm Mike. Everybody should know Gary. So go ahead and go around the horn.
Oh, I'll go first. My name's Jeff. I run a channel called the Blockchain Report, and I've been in kind of a personal health journey for the past 15 years, coming out as an athlete, and now after my post-athletic life, just continuing that. So I'm here to share my knowledge and experience. So happy to be here.
There's like 3 people that are like frozen or just like extremely still. There we go. There we go. All right. We got some people moving now. All right. Who's next?
Let's go with Kevin Mace.
Hey, Kevin Mace. So I've got about 28 years of service in the Army, ranging from active duty to full-time guardsman to a deployed guardsman. So I've done a little bit of everything over the last 28 years.
Awesome. And look, for me, 3 of you are frozen. So the gentleman that was just talking, I'm assuming, is the bottom right-hand corner with the glasses on his head. Is that correct, Gary?
No, that was Kevin with the gray hat. He's frozen. Justin has the glasses on his head, and then Patrick has the funky, I don't know, metrical thing glasses on his face.
All right. All right. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's frozen for everybody. It's just for me, it was frozen. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Is it?
Yeah. How am I coming in?
All right, let's go.
You're fine. Gary's fine, and
Okay.
I'm fine.
Let's go with Justin. He started to come in good.
Am I? You can see me now. Good.
We can see you. It's like internet connection must be choppy where you're at or something.
Yeah, sorry about that.
it's
Justin
all good.
Williams. Gary invited him. I do a podcast, the Just in Time podcast with Patrick Packer, and we've actually broached this subject quite a bit as far as what's good, what's not with what's being produced. We've had a lot of whole health people on, and we've also talked quite a bit about alternative medicine. So happy to join and participate today.
I definitely appreciate you guys coming. Gary was, being the social butterfly that he is, he knows quite a few people, and so yeah, him and his wife, as those of you that have watched the show know, me and Gary have been friends for about almost 20 years. So, yeah, but Gary knows a lot of people, and I want to kind of publicly thank him for speaking these people out and getting them to come on the show, because it really lends a lot of credibility to the topic. Whenever you have people that are steeped in knowledge, they're subject matter experts, they're specialists in their field, things like that. It speaks more deeply about a topic than somebody like myself that maybe I read up on it, or it's something I'm knowledgeable about but not an expert. And so it's important that we bring people on that do have a strong background. All right, who's next?
So let's go with Patrick.
Hi, Patrick. I co-host with Justin. I'm pretty much just the comic relief.
Shit. Comic relief, wealth of knowledge, and knows. Same as it seems like him and Gary that must run in the genes. They're definitely very good at networking.
Oh, that's right. They're brothers.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to have a brothers episode, like me and Taylor and Gary and his brother, and we'll have to talk shit or something.
That's not going to end well.
See if it ends in a fist fight. See who can still win.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not winning.
I'll be honest. Taylor whooped my ass probably, but him and Jeff, they're not here. They're having a gay wedding right now, so we'll just jokes. Well, let's go ahead and jump right into it. I kind of just want to frame the conversation really quick, and then just leave it kind of an open forum, and people just chime in wherever you feel like you have something to contribute. But really, what I'm wanting to talk about is I'm wanting to talk about our foods, the toxins, the pesticides and stuff that are sprayed on them, the additives, the chemicals, the preservatives, all those things that they do to our foods. and then also our medications and the impact on our society. Because those of you that don't know, there's a lot of foods that is sold in the U.S. that isn't even allowed to be sold overseas. It's illegal because of what's in it. One of the things that oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, you were talking. One of the things I found interesting just about that. So my oldest is on his mission in Barcelona, and he wanted a bunch of shit sent off to him. So we go pack it into a box and go take it to the post office. You got to write down what you have in there. And the guy says, yeah, you have to pull all of this out. You can send the socks. And I'm like, what? And he said, yeah. He goes, everything that you have on in here is banned in Spain from a health standpoint. And so
it's insane.
I called my son. I said, hey, you know what? Why don't you take this and run with it and learn how to eat better shit? Because obviously what we have here is not good for you in any way, shape, or form.
You know what's irritating with that also is that each one of those companies that are selling this stuff to us in the US have alternatives in foreign countries.
Oh, yeah. No, you take like a bag of Cheetos in Europe and a bag of Cheetos in the US and look at the back of the ingredients, and there's like a couple dozen things that you can pronounce on the ones over in Europe. And then there's the laundry list of, I don't know, it looks like they're making meth or something on the one from the US.
They probably are.
It pretty much probably is.
That's how they keep us hooked.
But real quick before we get started, the other part of the conversation I want to make sure we get to is, Sergeant Major, I want you to talk about, I know you have an extensive background in recruiting. I myself was a recruiter. And so, I understand the requirements to get into the military, to pre-qualify and to qualify somebody to get in the military. And there's some really disturbing statistics right now. And I don't want to, spoiler alert, it's about 70% of our youth that is ineligible to actually enlist in the military, either physically or mentally have issues. So that leaves 30%, of which would have to want to join with what's going on, which is a hard sell. I feel for recruiters right now. And our nation needs people. And so that's a disturbing statistic that only 30% of people, even if they're willing, will join, are able to join the military. But anyway, let's get into the health aspect. Sergeant Major, just please don't let us get away from, and get that in there. You're on mute. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Really, when you think about it, your two topics for this podcast actually tie together. When you think about what is in our food, what we're doing to our minds, bodies, and then young people not being able to qualify for service. But I would go out on a limb and tell you, when you talk about the mental health aspect of that, whether it's I across the Department of Defense, you have very senior people that may not even qualify for service right now because of some of the things, some of the medications they're on, the amount of help they need. So when we look at this, I think it's really kind of two different things in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of nexuses when you look at how many soldiers today have undiagnosed adult attention deficit disorder, which is something that disqualifies a young kid from being in service. So it's kind of an interesting world we live in right now when you think about trying to serve. But I think there is also a stigma that exists that young people don't want to serve. I want to kill that stigma. We got some great, we got some great kids out there, and I think they do want to serve. My daughter.
I have a question though, Sergeant Major. Is that just Utah, or is that nationwide? Because Utah is very patriotic. The LDS Church is based out of there. I grew up there. Love Utah, but Utah is a very unique demographic, we'll say.
So for sure, we've already talked about LDS and being on a mission. Young kids in Utah are raised to serve in some capacity.
Yes.
But but I will tell you, if recruiting was as bad as it seemed right now, we would have more of a problem than we do. But the Army does things like the Future Soldier Program, where you can go to improve your GT score or your ASVAB. They have a physical fitness aspect of that, and then they also have English as a second language school in San Antonio. So when you look at it, we are trying to do things to qualify our young people to serve, and it's actually been a really successful program. We just have to figure out how to fund it, which is the issue. But no,
Okay.
I'll open that statement to, I think young people across America, I think they get a bad rap. Some of the soldiers, like I said, I've been in 28 years. Some of the soldiers that I serve with right now are way better than the soldiers I grew up in the 82nd with. Like way
Hey,
better.
easy there, sir. That might have been me.
Look, man, I grew up in 3rd of 325 on active duty, and at the end of the day, some of these kids we have in service right now, they are the smartest. They are the fittest. I think young people today get a bit of a bad rap.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear, because a lot of the statistics that I've been hearing are the contrary. And, and a lot of the stuff that you see on social media, I kind of want to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Just being retired as long as I have, I'm very separated from, being in the military and seeing things from that light. I'm seeing stuff from a civilian standpoint, nothing but social media and, things like that. And looking at it through that lens, they're painting a very different picture, where you have a very woke military that, the readiness has been degraded, that, ability to, react or to, engage in any, meaningful conflict is degraded. So, that's the thing that out here that we're seeing. So it's good to hear from the inside that that's not necessarily the case.
I think the readiness is a little convoluted from the outside looking in, because from the inside looking out, we're ready. We're always ready to go. The common theme right now is, are you ready to go for the fight right now, tonight? And across the board,
I'm always ready, man.
And it seems like that they are ready. They are prepared. And to back up Kevin's statement about how intelligent the soldiers are right now, in our basic leader course, like I've been in 18 years, and some of these kids, E4s, E5s, that are coming in have this plethora of knowledge that can apply to the Guard and Army across the board, and maybe some leadership across the board isn't harnessing that.
Yeah,
we are ready, and we have motivated soldiers out there. Going back to the recruiting thing, I really can't speak much to that. I'll leave that to Kevin.
Real quick, Gary, real quick. Let's steer back to the health topic a little bit. What are you guys seeing an increase? It's our major. I mean, you are still in, and have been in longer than I have. I only did 22. People that are coming into MEPS, like, if I'm not sure what the kind of visibility that you have, but are you seeing an increase in mental health issues and physical issues as opposed to the 90s, the 2000s, the early 2000 teens? Are you seeing an increase or a decrease in behavioral issues, medications, disqualifiers for military service?
So Mike, I don't go to MEPS often. I don't deal with it a ton. So I don't want to be uneducated on that. But I think just across America, just remove service from it. I think across America, you see that. And you did this for a long time. We're a force that is comprised of our society. So of course we mirror society, right? Think about when you were a young soldier in the 82nd, you didn't have to worry, like you mentioned it, social media, the news, depicts a much different picture of our service right now. Look, man, I'm going to tell you right now, we had a shit ton of issues back in the early 90s and early.
Don't be airing our dirty laundry, Sergeant Major. And let me be clear. I was never in the 82nd. My buddy Joe Spire was. I was at first group for the first part of my career, and then went in the Marines, and was in first MARDIV, and then ended up in 19th group is where I finished my time before I retired.
So look,
I just want to be clear. I didn't want to claim to be. I didn't want to be Waltz and be claiming service stuff that I didn't do.
Fair statement. But I think about my service in the late 90s, early 2000s at Fort Bragg. Look, man, a lot of the issues we see today existed then. They just weren't plastered all over social media. Like people have to own that. Like the Army, the Department of Defense has become somewhat of a petri dish for social media when we talk about growing a narrative, right? What I will tell you is I don't know that we have a larger behavioral health issue than what we had in 1999. But what we do have is more socially intelligent leaders in our formations that actually see the signs of that and can help that a little bit. Look, man, I say it all the time, and Gary knows this. In today's leadership environment, you have to be the most socially intelligent we've ever needed you to be, because you cannot treat every soldier the same. You have to treat them at the name table level.
And maybe I'm just old school, but I believe in more the mentality of, like, I mean, and I know you've heard it, Sergeant Major, we're all green.
Yeah.
I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care who you sleep with when you're off duty. All I care about is you come to work, you're squared away, you do your job, and you pull weight. That's the way it was in the 80s and 90s.
You retired just in
All
time.
that. I had plenty dudes in the barracks that were gay. We all knew. We didn't care.
Yeah.
You know, I had Puerto Ricans and black guys and cowboys. They're one end of the hallway, they're blasting country music, drinking Budweiser. At the other end, they're drinking cognac and playing spades. It was a petri dish, like you said, and we all loved each other like brothers. The kind of newer, sensitivity thing, I just couldn't do it. I had to retire.
So I want to change your perspective on that. It's not a sensitivity thing, right? Like, even me as a young specialist in the 82nd, getting my EIB, trying to go to Ranger School, winning Battalion Soldier of the Year, I still wanted to be who I was in uniform. Like, I wanted to be a performer, but I also wear a name tape that says Mays, not just U.S. Army, right? So
yeah. When I fully integrated myself into the military. That was, and to my detriment in a lot of ways, was my identity. I didn't get married. I didn't have kids. It was the military was my life. I was kind of brought up by those old guys that were like, if the military wanted you to have a wife, they would have issued you one. Those guys.
Yeah. But I think we mistake sensitivity for being, like, when you look at the principles of servant leadership, right? Like, one of the top principles of servant leadership is, I'm going to care for you no matter what. So you can be a complete screw up, but on the human level, like, hey man, I don't want you to have suicidal ideations. I don't want you to find the answer in the bottom of a bottle, because the Army that you and I joined, it was okay to find the answer in the bottom of a bottle as long as you were performing your job. But think about it.
Honestly, we didn't have a lot of the. And sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
I really want to stress that. I mean, I spent most of my military career on active duty. I finished my time in the Guard, active Guard.
Yeah.
But I was active Army, active Marines. Served with Navy. Obviously with the Army. Served with some Air Force guys. It's I had a lot of exposure. I was the training NCO at the 19th, and so I'd go to SOCOM all the time. And I was exposed to a lot of different services in a lot of different ways. And what I saw was there was a lot of, and it's just a different time. I mean, I ran into it with the old guys, oh, this isn't the Army that I came up in. Everybody always says that. It's like, oh, well, back in my day, that kind of trash. But at the same time, there's a resiliency. It seems like the old guys that were older than me were much more resilient. My generation, I saw as much more resilient than the new soldiers when I was a leader in the military that I was bringing in and mentoring. It's yes, they seem to be more intelligent and capable in other ways.
Yeah.
But resiliency was not one of their strong suits.
So-
being able to deal with stress, being able to be outside their comfort zone and operate at a high level was lacking, is what I saw.
But on a when you talk about behavioral health, mental awareness, those types of things, as a leader, it's my job to enable them to do that in a safe environment. And I think that's why some of them have those issues, is because they've never been given an opportunity to do that in a safe environment where it's okay to fail. You can't be a zero defect leader.
Well, and that's what training's for, and what peacetime and garrison is for.
But
There's
it's
not a whole lot of risk unless you're doing a live fire exercise or something. That's where you make the mistakes. Absolutely, I agree with that.
But what I will tell you is, I had leaders that found their resilience in the bottom of Budweiser bottles and Jack Daniels. They weren't really.
That's the best place. That's a treasure trove of reflection right there.
Don't tell my secrets.
But so I say that I'm not going to say it's better or worse. I just think it's different now. And really, I think if you can help a soldier with I'm going to call it brain health. I recently listened to a podcast. So you have mental health, and then you actually have brain health. Brain health is getting enough sleep. Brain health is eating the right types of food. Brain health is exercise, where mental health is the aspect of not being able to deal with stress, right? But if you have poor brain health, mental health is also that much harder because you're not thinking clearly. That's kind of the premise of that.
Well, you know what? I think that's a good segue over. I don't see them both up yet, but Gary's brother and I don't see his name either because
Justin and Patrick, yeah.
Yeah, I want to start delving into, and of course, all of our guests. I wanted to chime in. Let's actually go into the health aspect.
Let me interject real quick. I want to
go
tie
ahead.
a couple things together that has been discussed. The catering to the soldiers' emotions and living down to the name tape, etc. Right. So historically speaking, as you were saying, they just dive into a bottle as long as they did their job right. It was acceptable back then. But if you tie it in today's age with the emotional and mental health pandemic that we're going through and the suicide rate, if we don't cater to the name of the soldier and who they are, we're going to lose more.
But
we really need to get to know the soldiers
we
more.
can go back and forth. Like I said, I'm always playing devil's advocate because it's the only way to have a fully rounded conversation. But it's not necessarily my 100% view, but I definitely have feelings on it. My actual personal feelings is that the more that you pander and cater and coddle, the less resilient somebody gets. Because that's like back in my day, parents were like, get the hell out of the house and don't come back till the street lights come on. They didn't care if you crashed your bike or if you were missing for 8 hours. They just, whatever. People were just more resilient. And before us, World War II dudes and Vietnam War dudes, much more resilient than us.
They still are.
So, yeah. Fucking stubborn old coots, like myself, but yeah, more resilient. So let's go ahead and segue over because I want to make sure we dedicate plenty of time to it. But let's talk about our foods, our water systems, medications, and the impact that it has, on our society, on the American society, both physically, mentally, and generationally. Potentially through genetics and things messing with genetics. So, who wants to go first?
Let's start with Jeff.
Yeah, so we kind of want to go into how we subsidize the foods and by make it cheaper for everyone. I mean, this started like decades ago, trying to feed starving populations and produce as much food as we can. And then it ends up, we subsidize the food to make it cheaper and get into, we can take this material and make it into something like seed oils and go through a chemical process, and that makes its way into McDonald's, and how we used to make the fries with lard and now it's or tallow, and now it's all seed oils. So there's this shift into making things cheaper and more affordable over the decades, and it turns around and causes massive disease and a strain on the healthcare system. So how much money are we really saving by making food cheaper? In the long run, it's going to bankrupt us and destroy the whole population. So it's coming at it from a whole system approach, the agriculture, big ag, pharmaceutical industry. It's just a whole web of shit that we need to untangle. It's not just one thing either.
Big Pharma will come out with something to make us skinny again.
Yeah, I was going to say
Ozempic.
Well, no, just you even talk about trying to feed starving nations. I mean, we have farmers that don't even farm. They're paid by our government not to farm, because we could go ahead and produce more food, but then it wouldn't line the pockets of those who need to be lined, right?
Well,
I have a buddy in Idaho. His parents have been paid not to farm their land for the last 20 years that I've known him.
Well, and under the current administration, we are importing more. We don't produce enough food to feed our own nation. We have to import more. So if it ever that is, if you ask me, that's national security right there. But who am I?
And farming practices have gone to shit. Like the topsoil's completely fucked. Regenerative farming is really a much better approach. It's just getting it to a scale to where we can sustain ourselves as a country. But it's really about teaching people how to use their own land and space.
You said the topsoil's fucked. I mean, what exactly? I mean, that people out there might not know. What is done to the topsoil?
Chemicals.
Yeah, so there's microorganisms in the soil that help benefit the plants and stuff. And when you spray pesticides for decades and decades, and also tilling helps, or it disrupts the microorganisms in the soil as well. So you're getting dead soil. I don't remember how much topsoil we have left before it's completely fucked, but
I will tell you, anybody out there, Google it. I forget, it was Kevin Costner on Yellowstone. There was an episode where he was talking to this young, well-intentioned, activist that was talking about how, farming and cattle ranching, killed all these animals and stuff like that. And, or they were talking about the cattle ranchers and killing cows. And Kevin Costner, his character comes up to the young lady and is like, do you realize how many animals are killed, in farming for your tofu and your soy and, all these things? Like when they till the soil, it kills the moles and the voles and the groundhogs, and just goes through like all the things that it kills. And like you said, tilling, farming is what caused the Dust Bowl. I forget when the Dust Bowl happened. It was, I think like the early 1900s, around the time of the Great Depression, actually. It basically blew away all the topsoil. They couldn't grow anything. So it caused a famine on top of, what was already going on. So, yeah.
Well, it's not to say that we can't use that as a tool, tilling, to, if the land's really needs some work, go ahead and do that, but don't do it as a yearly practice, or find ways of regenerating the soil properly. Someone's hungry. But we got to teach people how to use their space and grow their own plants. So if you live in an apartment, you can have a vertical garden or something.
Oh no, absolutely. Hydroponics. There's all kinds of ways to grow food.
My dad had a spray bedroom just for that.
Yeah, right. So here's some of the chemicals that are in our foods.
Before you say that,
We got artificial sweeteners. So we got aspartame, we got sucralose.
Sucralose.
Yeah, but they link it those man-made chemicals basically are processed into cancer, metabolic syndrome, and potential neuronic. Excuse me, I'm a little bit drunk. Neurological effects. Dude, I'm like half a bottle in of wine. So yeah, my cigars didn't come in, so I'm not smoking a cigar tonight. And it's I'm supposed to be healthy tonight. Wine's good for you. Nitrates, the sodium nitrate that you find in a lot of meats is a preservative. It's a carcinogen, increased risk of cancer, trans fats, vegetable oil. Anybody out there, if you want to do something that's really going to have an impact on your health, drink plenty of water. And I personally avoid tap water, and get rid of vegetable oil. Look at the ingredients on your foods. Look at the back. There's actually an app that you can download. I'll try to link it in this show. But you can scan the barcode, and it will give you a grade. It actually, all the different foods that are out there, it will grade it. So if you don't want to sit there and scan through all the ingredients, you can actually scan it, look at it, and it will say, okay, this is a grade A. It doesn't have all that crap in it, or grade F, and it's full of trash that you probably don't want to be putting in your body.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Sorry.
So I don't know how many know that our fertilizers that we use, that nitrogen-based fertilizer.
It's kind of hard to hear you. Can you move the mic a little closer?
I'll see what I can do.
I just really want to hear what you have to say.
Who invited this guy?
I know. Like an amateur hour over here.
All right, is that better?
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
That's way more
I don't know
good.
how many people realize that our nitrogen-based, phosphate-based fertilizer that we use was created by one of the main chemists with Hitler.
Was it Bayer?
What?
Was it Bayer, I believe? They had the chemical gas for the for the chambers.
And
Bayer, German company. Yeah, they worked for the Nazis. Straight up worked for the Nazis.
And today, the same fertilizer that we use, we need 10 times the amount to yield the same amount that we did back in the 70s.
We depleted the soil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's why it's so important. Honestly, I'm always pushing people, to grow, start a garden, do planter boxes, do the vertical, do whatever you got to do, but try to be as self-sufficient as possible and grow your own foods or source them locally. Like me personally, most of my meats I get from neighbors that raise cattle, pigs, chickens, eggs, all that. Vegetables, grow a garden every year and keep that. And like honey, there's beekeepers and stuff in the area. That camera is way too close to your face, man.
Yeah, we can see your soul.
Sorry, man.
I'm just trying to get it.
Whoa. I was like that you might want to go get that looked at by a dermatologist. No, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go off.
Yeah, that's better for all of us, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks. Whoa.
Holy crap! You gotta shave your nose hairs or something. A little deep.
All right. So So yeah, no, it's let's. I really want to dive into the additives to our food. You know, I want to try to steer the conversation a little bit, and you know, stay on the topic
Well,
of.
how much do you think that affects our children as they're
I don't know. That's what I'm hoping one of you guys can answer. Because
Well, I can tell you that
Does any of these additives affect our DNA and our genetics to where potentially we're causing, you know, more ADHD? You know,
well,
people are more
statistically, Gen Z's testosterone levels are way lower than that of Gen X.
Oh, 100%. Well,
I mean, look at this beard. I mean, I'm like steeped in testosterone.
Well, I've seen that even just with, it seems like teenagers in general are not, and I'm glad in some aspects because my daughter's out there, right? But you don't see teenage boys as, I don't know if you want to call it horny or swole up or whatever. But I felt like
full
I
of
was
vigor.
I felt like I was always in the rut when I was, as a teenager, and it definitely, I can see that is happening. That aggression or that testosterone release seems less and less. I mean, I think I see it in my 12-year-old. He just doesn't seem as aggressive as what you would think someone would be at that age when it comes to competing. And
that's true. Well, the testosterone's so low right now that the boys are turning into girls.
In the chat. It looks like I'm little as fuck as a girl, and she says, "As a girl, my testosterone is higher."
Yeah. No, I
like you already. I might make you a moderator with a comment like that. Hold on. I think I might.
She's actually outside with some of our friends.
She's with you?
She's one of our
awesome.
friends, yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. I like that. All right, I'm going to make her a moderator.
Yeah.
Go ahead, keep on talking.
Oh, I was going to say, so they have something called generally recommended as safe, or GRAS, for chemicals and stuff or additives that they put in food and even vaccines. So they say if it's under this certain threshold, it's generally recognized as safe. Well, if that's fine if you're only having it once every, once in a while, rarely. But if you're these kids eating all this processed stuff with food dyes and additives, and you're just getting bombarded, overwhelmed every day, it's the compounding effect. It's how much poison can you take at once versus like the whole thing before it kills you.
It's water soluble where it flushes out relatively quickly, or it's fat soluble where it gets stored in fat. And so if you're getting fatter and fatter and fatter off of these foods, whatever's in it is being most likely, I'm not an expert, but it's most likely getting stored, in those fats. And then, fat isn't healthy. And then you have, these chemicals just marinating in there. It's like, no wonder people, again, not an expert, but are getting cancers. What I've read is most of the time cancers start from dead cells, and that's why I fast. I fast 16 hours a day. So I eat dinner and I'll snack up until a couple hours before bed. And then all the time I'm sleeping, of course, but I don't eat breakfast. I'll have tea in the morning. I'll have breakfast. I don't have breakfast. I don't have lunch unless I'm outside doing chores and like actually burning calories.
So
hang
don't
on a
take
second.
edibles
You call
to
yourself an
sleep.
American? You don't eat bacon in the morning?
Man,
No, I eat bacon for
dare
dinner.
you?
I have Leonard.
How dare you?
And apparently you don't take edibles to sleep.
He doesn't have to.
To get those munchies going.
Edibles are for women, and
there you go, Justin.
the only way that I condone an edible is if it's butter and if you use it to like ladle over a steak. Then I will allow edible.
So
I
Patrick,
gotta
so Mike lives similar to Dad.
Oh,
You
you
know, the
live a
spare
green,
bedroom.
you live a green lifestyle.
Well, I live 30 minutes from the nearest town, and I live in a cabin in the middle of I can throw a rock and hit Canada, and yeah, I just got my little 20-acre plot, and I spend my days working on it and working on the cabin, and watching social media and learning about crypto. That's my life.
Soon to be 19 acres because I'm taking over one.
Well, you can come up and drop you a little house. Like I said, we'll do something here. I need to talk to you after the show.
Yes.
Totally off topic. I want to switch up possibly from Hawaii to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, move on. We don't need them to know what the hell we're doing.
Hey, it doesn't matter. We're going international, baby. All right. So back to health. Sorry, I got us on a rabbit trail. So let's talk a little bit about medications. Who here is knowledgeable? I mean, I know a little bit. In my experience, most of the time, I will not take prescription medications. It seems like they'll say, "Oh, you're taking this for depression," but the side effects may cause depression, may cause like bleeding out of your ass. They tell you all these different weird side effects. This laundry list while people are riding bikes smiling.
Well, it's a good thing you weren't too graphic.
Well, no, but it's for real. You see these prescription medication commercials, and everybody's like out smiling, having fun, and they're like the whole 2 minutes is side effects. So what is up with our medicines? And then half the time you have to take other medications to counteract the side effects of it.
So here's our
why-
problem. Here's our problem. Western medicine is primarily to treat symptoms, not necessarily to treat causes. And we've been that way for such a long time that we've become accustomed to this guy in this white coat giving us a pill that's gonna cure our ailment. Nothing more. Our eyes were opened wider during and or after that opioid epidemic. I guess we're technically in it, but after the Feckler, whatever that family is, after the Sackler family kind of took over, and you started to see exactly how these physicians are being ran. They're being marketed to. They're being essentially lied to on a lot of things. I've been in medicine for 30 years. I've done and I've been a part of IRB studies. I've seen what can be
I'm sorry, I
done
might have
and
missed
not
it. I was
done.
in the chat. You said you've been in for 30 years. What exactly did you do? It's important because I want to make sure people understand where this knowledge is coming from.
I was in cardiovascular medicine for 30 years. I spent 10 in
Awesome.
cardiac cath lab and 20 in industry being
Okay.
a
Like I
sales
said,
rep.
I just want to give people a little bit of background on you so they fully understand where this knowledge is coming from. Go.
No, I forgot. If you take a look at just start with the opioids, right? Opioids generally don't necessarily take away the pain. It kind of numbs you kind of all over the board, and it doesn't really necessarily take away the pain. But they're both highly addictive to you, and people just continue to get addicted to it, right? And how about if we fast forward to the most recent of vaccines, and the COVID vaccine for one, that was the worst, it was a study that was poorly ran. Everyone that got that shot is a part of a study that no one knows what the end data is going to be.
That shot.
That shot.
Everyone who got that
shot.
Well, how did you as military avoid it?
I'm glad I was out because I would have ended up having to get kicked out because I wasn't taking it.
Kevin, you have something to add on that one?
Actually, that's a good question. What did you, if you guys don't mind, you don't have to, but Gary and Star Major, what did you guys do?
I did what a 26-year service member was going to do. I took the shot because the Army's pumped my body full of random shit for 27 years anyway.
That's legit. Yeah, I got stabbed with smallpox. I got anthrax. I got those compressed air when I went in the Marines. Where you're like single file, they hit you from both sides. Yeah, I'm freaking. The way I looked at it though is they got me with enough stuff. I don't need to add to it.
So I'll give you a little piece of my side of it. There was the big scare that if we didn't get the shot, we could lose our full-time active military jobs.
No, and that's legit.
So I personally had the option: take the shot, do 4 years and retire, or don't take the shot and lose 16 years.
No,
so it's purely about retirement. It wasn't about the shot. I could give two shits about the shot.
Okay, but you realize that, and Mike already said it. You went through. You talked about those commercials, riding on a bike, and those complications that can come after when you take a medication. Where did those complications get known from? From studies. What do we know that this vaccine, and this is not an old vaccine type. This is a new vaccine. It's a new way to deliver it. It's this whole mRNA thing. Do we know what the long-term effects of it are? Well, all of you got the shot. I guess we're going to find out sooner or later, right?
Yeah, there's no evidence to show that there's going to be any side effects yet.
How would you know? There was no study.
Well,
there was no study.
I don't know. There has been a lot of reports and
anecdotal reports is not a study. And yes, I know that anecdotal reports can lead to that, but it's too late. It's out of the bag.
No, agreed. However, there's some very noticeable spikes, I'll say, in issues in people that have gotten it, that are in certain demographics, and the people that haven't, that are in the same demographics, that there's a marked difference in some of these. I don't want to say side effects, because if it's not from the shot, then it wouldn't be correlated. But there's been heart attacks and a lot of cardiopulmonary. Is that the right terminology? Sorry, I've been out of medicine for a while. I was just on the ski patrol and just basic stabilization, nothing serious as far as medical. But
there's a high clotting factor with it that is also anecdotal. We have to make sure that this is anecdotal. We don't know this for sure, but there is a high clotting factor with it, causing DVTs, pulmonary embolisms, strokes,
absolutely.
Heart attacks.
Thank you. Sorry, did we lose you?
Nope. I was finished.
Okay. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And and I just wanted to make sure that, like I said, I want to be truthful, and I definitely don't want to. I'd like to try to be as factual and logical as possible. But at the same time,
the one thing that I would say is, if you have any question as to what's what, just follow the money. If you follow the money, you're going to find.
No, absolutely. That's. I mean, honestly, in crypto investing, in traditional investing, in corruption, in crime, in anything, follow the fucking money. You want to know what's going on? Follow the motherfucking money. That you will find what's going on. As you notice, I don't care if YouTube bans us or shadow bans us. Speak freely. I'm not here to monetize or anything like that. We're here to laugh and joke and talk about whatever.
Yeah, and the issue with the vaccines is, I guess at that point it just comes down to, are you comfortable taking the risk? Like, what's your risk tolerance?
Yeah.
Or just risk tolerance, period. Because we had, I live in California, and thankfully my job didn't force us to get it, but a lot of places around, even some friends had to get it because of their jobs. And it's funny because I worked for a Chinese electric vehicle company, and we weren't forced to take it. But a lot of places to get into like restaurants and events required the card. So we couldn't really get into certain places because of that. But and I also learned during the whole COVID thing that there was a meeting with ACIP, the Advanced Committee for Immunization Practices or something, and they even confirmed that there is no studies that look into the effects of multiple vaccines at one time. They just do individual testing, and they don't do, you have to get a whole batch of shots at once. But there's no research to see what the cross interactions between all that is. So how do we know that we're not doing more damage to kids by?
And I know this is a hot topic too, but you have to ask yourself, and I don't know what your age range is, but I grew up in the 70s and 80s, right? So I don't remember seeing as many autistic kids as we do today. So is that due to the fact that it was underdiagnosed? Is it due to the fact that there's just a bigger population and so our sample size of autism is bigger? Or is it actually growing? And my gut is telling me that it's actually growing, because if you look at some other countries, Vietnam to be one, when they had very little autism until the WHO went in and started increasing their vaccinations, and then their autism went through the roof.
And that's valid, because there's a lot of people out there. RFK, that's kind of the reason why I front loaded, this episode with that, is on multiple occasions. I've seen him speak on preservatives. I guess like aluminum is sometimes a preservative, and I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure
aluminum's in your deodorant
Or an adjuvant.
Oh yeah, underarm deodorant. I don't.
Yeah,
I know.
And aluminum
sounds
poisoning
gross.
is
I don't.
kind of a
It's
precursor to
underarm
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, no Alzheimer's. But I actually, because I eat like really clean and work out and stuff like that, I don't have a BO issue. It's like people that have BO usually have really bad hygiene.
Wait, how long have you spent time with Gary?
Recently, not very.
Wow, I grew up with him. That kid stinks.
But I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that I know that don't use deodorant, and they don't have an offensive odor. It really has a lot to do with diet.
Gut bacteria, yeah.
Yeah, your stomach biome. So eating a lot of sugars, if you aren't eating enough protein, and your body's breaking down protein, it causes a very unique odor. There's a lot of different things that can affect your smell.
I wanted to kind of touch on the vaccine thing again. So there's a few physicians that I've learned from that talk about their work with autistic kids and how they do these heavy metal and mineral tests, and the autistic kids have such low proper minerals like potassium, magnesium, calcium, what else? And they have high mercury levels, aluminum, and some other ones. And once they start dropping their heavy metals, stuff like that you get in the vaccines, these kids start to normalize. And there was one case where this physician took a kid who was pretty much non-responsive, autistic, like didn't go outside, didn't interact with anyone. And now this kid, I don't remember if it was a few years or what, but now he's like dating. And that's still kind of on the spectrum, but a completely different person just by getting proper minerals, diet, lifestyle changes, sunlight, proper sunlight, eliminating like you said, the deodorants and the perfumes, the stuff we're spraying on our bodies, the Axe, it's all those chemicals contribute to screwing up your hormonal system. And you want to talk about these kids that come out with gender dysphoria, thinking that they're born in the wrong bodies, all these chemicals and stuff. There is some pretty strong evidence that show, you know, even before in the womb, where there's supposed to be a surge of testosterone at a certain point if the child is going to be a boy. And if that doesn't happen, the brain stays like.
Real quick, brother. I want to, before I forget, the app that I was talking about is called Yuka. Yuka. And so basically you can use it and it scans. You can, basically scan the barcode on your foods and it will give it a grade, either good, bad, excellent, poor, whatever. So if you don't want to, spend hours in the grocery store looking at ingredients and all that, download the Yuka app. And they didn't pay us or anything like that. We're not even close to that big.
Free promo.
But so yeah, it's basically a friend of mine. She told me about it, and she came over to my place and was like scanning my shampoo. She was scanning like everything, and it will tell you, if it's has bad chemicals in it and stuff. So again, Yuka. I'll link it in the description of the podcast. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot of good apps like that. But yeah, all this stuff that it's a compounding effect. The quality of the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the light that we take in. If it's artificial, are you getting enough sunlight in the morning? Because if you don't know, that's how you have proper melatonin regulation. Getting sunlight first thing in the morning and limiting the blue light exposure at night before bed. So all these things contribute. It's not just one thing like the food. The food is actually one of the, like, as important as it is, it's one of the last things on the list, versus the air, water, light, and stuff that you're putting on your body.
Well, and kind of explain a little bit why, because me personally, like my initial thoughts that air and or environment and water being more important than food is that you are 70% water, or more, and and your environment you're in 24/7. So what you're breathing, what you're coming in contact with, whereas food, your body's storing it, but there's only certain times of day that you're eating. So what is it that you feel that makes water and your environment more important than diet?
Well, the cells need oxygen to survive. You're
absolutely.
You're going to have a cancerous cell. And if you're breathing in like candles all day or scents, fragrances that are strong, or I've been in Ubers where I could barely breathe, it's like choking me out. And you're supposed to think these are making it smell good. I'm over here dying. And so right there, you're harming not just your lungs, but the cells of your body. And you can't have a healthy, happy, balanced body if you're breathing in toxic fumes and exposing yourself to pesticides in the water and pharmaceuticals in the water. And it's just it's all like those are the two most important things: the air and the water.
So we had a guy by the name of Sean Blymiller on our podcast. He's an area expert with autism. He has a 12-year-old that is nonverbal, that went nonverbal after the final round of vaccinations. And his foundation is called Pure Family Living. And he talks a lot in our podcast about natural diets, raw vegetables, where are you sourcing your meat. I just sent Gary the link if you guys want to check it out. And then I can try to get Sean to come on your podcast too.
I sent it to you, Mike.
What's that? Sorry. I'm chatting.
I sent that link to you.
All right, I appreciate it.
You can send that, maybe copy paste that link into the chat. People can go check it out.
I tried. I can't put anything in the chat.
That's ultimately how RFK got into the whole vaccine debate. Is these mothers came to him asking for him to fight their cases because their kids got injured after vaccines, and people were trying to put him off like they were crazy. And you don't want to tell a mom that she doesn't know shit or what she's talking about if something injured her kid and she knows exactly like you. She will unleash hell. But it's just evil to see big money try and silence people after getting destroyed by a product and just to save face. You know, it's
Crypto Breezy. Anybody copy and pasted the link to if anybody wants to download it. But well, on the topic with water, I'll tell you from personal experience. Going from the city and drinking municipal water, and then moving out here in the middle of nowhere and digging my own well and getting water like straight from the ground that has nothing in it, no chemicals, no additives, no nothing. I feel 100 times better. And, you know, I mean, I'm probably in better shape now than I was 10 years ago, you know, when I moved out here. And it tastes better. Whenever I travel anywhere, I annoy the hell out of friends and family. Whenever I leave the cabin, I always fill jugs with water. Like even if I go to Southern California, I take it with me, and because I'll drink it as long as I can and make it last as long as I can. I don't want to drink tap water or even bottled water, you know, where I go. It tastes like crap, and it doesn't make.
All right, so it seems like Mike is freezing up here.
Oh, sorry about that.
Lag.
So I tried to share that link.
I think I don't think YouTube allows you to do it.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
I
not
did
a
it
lot
too.
on it.
I did it. I just did it.
I did it too, but
Sorry,
it doesn't show up.
it just took me a minute. I was trying to get the link on my laptop so that I could share it because
Oh, there it is.
Gary texted it to me.
Okay, it's in the chat now. Yeah, we both tried to share it on the chat for everybody to see, and it won't populate. So you had to do it from your computer.
No, I just did. It takes like 15 seconds. There's a lag between the times that I post it. I should have had you on. Crypto Breezy is a buddy of mine, investing, and we watched some of the same channels and got to know each other a little bit. But he actually works in waterworks, so you know, like water treatment and stuff like that. If I'm not mistaken, he mentioned before that he has a lot of years. So I don't know. You know what? If you want to join Breezy, I'll shoot me your email on DM on X, and I'll shoot you a link. I definitely wouldn't mind getting your input on our water supply and what's done to our water.
Hey guys, I have to bounce.
No, absolutely. Go ahead.
What are you, Tigger?
You know, it's been an hour. Anybody that needs to go, I mean, go ahead and duck out. I definitely wouldn't mind, taking this a little bit longer. Anybody that's willing.
Hey, Mike, it's Kevin. I'm gonna bounce too. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on. Thanks, Gary, for asking me to do this.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, be glad. I'd be glad to do it again if you guys have a topic that you'd like me to weigh in on. Love to be a guest again.
Yeah, thanks for sharing what you had for us.
Sure.
We'll definitely invite you back for sure. There's a lot of topics that I know you could weigh in on.
Perfect. Thanks, Gary. I think Mike's completely frozen now. There he goes.
He's back.
I'm on Starlink, so with all the pine trees and stuff around, satellites move. You know, Elon cuts me off. It's just part of the game. It's the trade-off.
All right, gents, I'm gonna drop off. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down to stay.
We got me and we got blockchain.
And now
Oh,
it's just
he
the two
dro-
of us.
And he dropped.
We're the hosts now.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
This is
All
our
right.
show now.
It was our show, and then you had to come back.
You guys like gangstered me. You like Antifa me. So
It's,
we got.
it's Chad, right? Chad in Seattle.
You totally took over. Yeah, took over the show. All right, so we got Gary, we got Blockchain, we got me. I mean, do you want to out yourself and give everybody your full name or your first name?
Oh, I said it, Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
he,
Jeff.
he introduced him.
All right.
Hey, real quick,
Yeah.
Crypto Breezy sent you the message on X real quick.
I'm not seeing it. Send me a direct message. Oh, Breezy. Oh, okay. Never mind. I got it.
God, you're slow up in Washington.
Dude, I'm 50 years old. I'm not like freaking, tech savvy and shit. All right. All right, here we go. Hold on. You guys go ahead and talk amongst yourselves.
I was gonna say C90FTW. He said, "Have you found glass bottles of mineral water anywhere close?" I was gonna say, if you can't find glass bottles of mineral water, buy a SodaStream and make your own mineral water. Carbonate it. Get some good sea salt, potassium, magnesium,
Lemon,
calcium, and you can make your own. And lemon, yeah, lemon water every morning.
Salt and lemon, electrolytes, hydrate,
Yeah.
and that vitamin C. And then I take at night or in the morning, sorry, vitamin K3, D, I think it's D3.
And K2.
Krill oil, potassium. What else? Vitamin C in the morning.
We know what you take at nighttime. It's bourbon.
Oh, sorry, I cut out. So I take D3, K3. I think are the vitamins. Vitamin C, krill oil, potassium, and maca is what I take in the morning. And since I started doing that, drinking plenty of water and eating a lot of
bourbon.
protein and fasting, I feel awesome. What shit are you
Chlorophyll.
talking?
I don't think you can hear me.
Oh, absolutely. No, chloroform.
No chloroform. No chlorophyll. Actually, it's like the plant's blood. It's like the blood from plants. It looks just like
photosynthesis, all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Chemically, it looks almost like human blood, but it's just our blood has iron
do the same
and
thing.
chlorophyll has magnesium. So it's pretty wild. Is he frozen again? He's
He's frozen again. So C90FTW, I drink gallons of water, but from the Culligan man. You have no idea what you're
no.
drinking. You're just drinking it to drink it.
All right.
Well, and it's probably been sitting in those bottles for a long time.
Hey, Breezy, I just emailed you the link if you want to join and talk to us about H2O, water boy.
High quality H2O.
High quality H2O.
Water sucks.
Yeah, water sucks. It
Gatorade
really
is
sucks. So no, it really is important.
Oh my hell, Starlink.
Don't be gay, Gary. Do not be gay. So sit, stay, don't be gay. So yeah, water, if you're taking chemicals into your body, if you're, in my not expert opinion, you're asking for trouble. The more foreign things that your body is not built to process, it's either going to store or it's going to get rid of in the form of waste.
Or it's going to figure out how to use
storing it. It's going to cause disease and honestly,
inflation.
I think a lot of the stuff in our foods
Or inflammation.
Inflammation.
No,
not
yeah,
inflation.
exactly. Pain,
I got
inflammation.
I got all this politics stuff blowing up my feed. Can't get away from it. Oh.
Hey, Breezy, did you get the invite? So, so no, it's just it's inevitable. You know, I mean, if you
Yeah, it is inevitable.
This guy. Oh, for hell's sakes. Well, I'll say this. I do got to take off here shortly, but some closing comments. I'm hoping he pops back on here shortly. But no, we lost him altogether. I don't have any closing comments. Let's just keep this going. Who else has something? Let's see. Downloading now. I don't know. So, Jeff, what do you think about this water stuff? I don't really have a whole lot of knowledge on the chemicals, the structure, and what they make, how they filter it. I don't drink my local water because it's horrid.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's not milky, but the texture is almost milky, and then the faucets turn like crusty white and get all the crystals. So I refuse to drink it. So I'm like a bottled water whore, but I don't drink the fancy stuff. I drink just the no-name brand because it tastes best. So do you have any knowledge on what should we be doing?
Yeah, ideally it's, if you can get spring water from a good source, if they have well water that's tested and stuff, because some well water has bacteria and shit in it that you don't want. But spring water, reverse osmosis is the next best, but you need to remineralize it. So if you have like sea salt or something, you want to put those minerals back in because the RO is completely stripped of any minerals, and it won't really do anything to benefit the body in a mineral standpoint, which is important.
Sure.
But
we got an interloper.
Oh, we got him.
Is that Crypto Breezy?
Yeah. Yes, it is. Can you guys hear me?
What up, Breezy?
Yeah, we can hear
How's
you.
it going? Hey,
it's going good.
So
you're in water treatment then, correct?
Correct.
All right. So tell us what's up. What are they doing to our water? Are they making the frogs gay? What's up?
So I work at a well water treatment facility. So we drill wells like you have at home, and I have at home. So we get our water from there. But the process is taking out all the natural minerals in it due to people not wanting to the red staining in the toilets. There's no pleasing because you get rid of the magnesium, the iron that's in the waters. But so our place in New Jersey adds chlorine, lime to raise the pH, and some of our places add Sequest. It's PO4 is the chemical compound to hide the iron from the public.
Okay.
So actually, there's quite a few places in New Jersey that add fluoride to the water also, but the fluoride doesn't add anything to anyone. There's no nutrients to it. There's nothing that we get our body out of. It actually makes your teeth worse. Like, I don't know if you ever met anyone that has like white or yellow spots on their teeth, but that is from too much fluoride intake. So you drinking the fluoride water and then brushing your teeth or using wash with fluoride, you're actually going over your limit of fluoride intake.
Well, and according to some, that will calcify your pineal gland. that will close your third eye and not allow you to see the interdimensional
fluoride
beings,
will replace calcium
also known
in
as
the body.
Machino.
Okay.
So fluoride replaces calcium in the body, and if you have enough, it's just gonna leach that calcium out, and you're gonna have osteoporosis, cavities, all that stuff.
Correct. And a lot of local townships, like I work at a public system. There's a lot of private systems in New Jersey. There's a board that votes on what to use and what not to use, and fluoride has been the big push because everyone sees it as, oh, you're getting fluoride already. It makes your teeth stronger, better, whiter. That's not true. It's completely shit. So, you know, all you guys that probably live in bigger cities than what I work at probably have fluoride in your system. You could probably go to your local township page and they should have a link. If not, you could look up through your local DEP and you could actually find out what chemicals your water system uses.
I'm sorry. Did you said that there's like an actual website you can do that?
So ours is like, I don't do the actual like lab test. My assistant superintendent does, but there's like a drinking water watch site for New Jersey, and you can actually see what the results are. But so our chemicals we have to use has to get registered.
How could anybody that watches this, like, is there a way they could find that info?
I could try and get you a link. I gotta go through some things and actually find out if there's a website, but I know it has to be registered through the state and DEP on what chemicals we have to use at my job.
I would dare to say that if you go into any of the websites for your local area, they would be required to disclose that kind of information.
So on our like township page, it does not say that, but like I said, I know our chemicals have to be registered through the DEP because we have to make sure we're in requirement standings for it. Because there's maximum and minimum levels we have to take for chlorine, our lime for our pH, and the PO4 for pretty much hiding the iron. That's all it does.
Well, one thing, let's shift the conversation a little bit. And if you want to stick around, O'Breezy, you know, by all means, please. And thank you for sharing, you know, your kind of your expertise as you know, water, municipal water. Because it's to me, I mean, I would want to know what's in it. And there's a lot of cities like Flint. I mean, I grew up, you know, and it probably reflects in, you know, a little bit about who I am. But for a while, I lived in Flint, Michigan. And so I was drinking out of lead pipes and stuff like that. There's you know, a lot of stuff in our water. So, I mean, it's important, again, to know what you're taking in. But I want to talk about the relationship of the FDA.
Mike, I actually have something on Flint if you want to hear about it.
What's up?
I have something about Flint that I actually learned in my last class.
Yeah, real quick, go ahead. I want to touch on this last thing before we close out the episode, but go ahead.
All right, so the thing about Flint is what I learned about is they re-drilled the wells for that type of plant that was putting out the water. So they just assumed that the procedure for filtering the water and the same chemicals was going to be the same without running it by the state. So they just kept using the same procedures, and that's what caused all the issues with the lead pipes.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many variables, you know, in that you know, we could go down rabbit trails forever. That you know, it was, you know, neglecting the infrastructure and the pipes, and you know, from you know the pipes that go from the, you know, city water to the houses, even, you know, because a lot of them were, you know, lead because, you know, it's so old. But anyway, yeah. I last thing I definitely want to make sure we touch on before we go.
There's not the
And
comments.
sorry, I was trying to be engaged in the chat, but I want to talk about government and the way that the government is involved with how they regulate or supposedly regulate what's in our foods to protect us and our water. So the FDA, pretty much down the line, 50-50, their funding comes from the, really quick, it is a...
Hey,
So
Mike,
basically
real
from
quick, real quick
Congress-
before you go down this rabbit hole.
All right, go ahead.
That's a good time for me to close out.
No, no, go ahead. If you got to go.
Yeah, this is probably something I don't want to comment on, anyways. So I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out. But in closing, the relation from the recruiting or enlistments or numbers to the medications and the problems that we're having right now, I think it's a real thing. I think we're being poisoned in a healthy way, if that's a thing, right? Because our body can digest it. So that's the only healthy part of it, is we can digest it. But I thoroughly believe that we are being poisoned through medications. And if you go to pretty much any doctor nowadays, their first question is, what can I prescribe? It's not chasing down the problem. They're trying to just monitor and fix this simple, immediate threat of your body. So I think we're fully being
we're going to dive into here in a second is the relationship between doctors and pharmaceutical companies, and the financial relationship and we'll get into that here in a second. But go ahead and finish, Gary. Sorry.
But yeah, no, you're good to go. I was just about to finish out with exactly what you just said. So I hope you continue down that road. It's really good information. I think everybody should have an opinion. Blow up the chat. Jeff, Crypto, pipe in at any time. But I do have to go. I'll see you guys all next week.
All right, take care, brother. So either of you guys want to before I go on my little rant, basically, like I said, if any of you have any input on government involved in our food and drugs, and also doctors and their relationship with pharmaceutical companies, if either of you have any actual factual experience in that you'd like to share before you go, or
I kind of think of where did this all start? Who is influencing this whole medical system? Because they don't teach nutrition, which is extremely important. You get maybe one class, I think, in your entire medical schooling for nutrition and the effects of food and environment and stuff. But it's who's controlling this information and putting this out there, saying that this is the best way, and demonizing more natural remedies.
And I'll tell you from experience, natural remedies are more in tune with the human body. I don't know.
There's thousands of years of stuff being used in Eastern medicines, and
well, you figure the human body, it adapts to its environment, and so it aligns with the plants that we eat and the animals that we eat and the things that we come in contact with. It's just like I said, I'm definitely not a scientist, and I'm not an expert on it, but just in my personal experiences traveling the world, seeing different cultures, and different levels of technology or civilization, everybody from that are living in villages all the way up to people living in metropolitan cities. And what I have found is the happiest people are the people that are living the poorest, that are living in villages, that are eating locally sourced foods that they go out and hunt and gather themselves, water that they drink from the ground that they live on, and they would be considered poor by most Western civilizations, but some of the happiest, healthiest people in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously, not having access to some medical care, can affect them. You get a broken leg, get cancer, things like that. There's, things that can't be treated, but overall, mentally and physically more healthy than those in Western civilization. There's has to be some sort of focus, and maybe there is, but some sort of data that focuses on that topic, because it can't be ignored. I mean, I've personally seen it in my own life, moving from the city where I was, mentally, I was miserable. Physically, I was not as healthy as I am now. And, yeah, and it's just, I can only attribute it to the foods that I'm eating, the water I'm drinking, the environment that I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to take a lot to undo this system or to make this change, because you have uh the revolving door of government officials going from the FDA to CDC and then back into the government and making decisions and lobbying and all these people. You can't regulate someone that you're also working directly with or getting incentivized from or incentives from. And these people, they'll go get another job somewhere, and then 6 or 12 months later they'll get this kickback from the place they were at before. And nobody, all that stuff seems to go hidden because nobody really sees that. And the normal population, they're like, oh, what, that happens, stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you don't see the shady shit that
Well, I'm
goes
glad
on.
you bring
And
that up, because the FDA, their funding is almost 50-50 from Congress, our tax dollars, and the other 50% is from pharmaceutical companies and food companies and things like that, and fees. So
I thought it was more. I thought it was
no,
actually like,
it's about
okay.
50-50.
I mean,
But
still.
no, it's so. But then you have to figure that doctors, they are incentivized to prescribe you medications through stock options, through gifts, through consulting fees, speaking fees. There's a lot of different ways that they incentivize doctors to prescribe you. I will not take prescription medications. Every time I go to the doctor, that's the first thing I say whenever he walks in the room. I'm having, this issue. I do not take prescription medications. Other than that, I'm open to whatever, you feel is going to help me. And never fails, at the end of every, session or whatever, they always try to write me a prescription. And I just laugh and I leave it. I don't take it because it boggles my mind, because it's almost like our medicine isn't meant to heal us. It's meant to make us feel okay, but keep us as a customer. Keep us coming back for more medications and more treatments, more examinations and more tests. It's a money making operation. I don't trust it personally. To each their own. And if you have something like cancer and a serious issue, absolutely, go to a doctor and do whatever you need to do. I'm just saying, if I have like a, freaking, I'm going bald, which I am, but but if you're going bald and you go to a doctor about it to test like testosterone or something, I'm not going to just right off the bat start popping some pills to fix the issue. It's like, all right, what are some homeopathic things? Can I work out more? Can I do more cardio, exercise? Can I eat better? Can I, is there other
Stress.
things that can help me before I delve into, taking a bunch of medications?
Yeah, and I see it with some of my family members who are like much younger than me. And some of them are on prescription medications and they don't really eat well and take care of themselves or exercise. And I just turned 37 and I'm still active and eat well and all that stuff. And you can see the difference in, the health of all of us. So I look much younger than them. I love them, and I've been trying to work with them over the years on teaching them how to eat better and things to look for. But it's you can only meet them where they're at. And I've butted heads with family members real bad in the past, and I've just kind of had to have a hands-off backup approach. Just like, when you're ready to come to me, I'm here for you.
I'm definitely not, one of those that, like vegans. If you're in a room, you want to know who the vegan is, just wait, they'll tell you. It's like I'm not one of those. I have a certain way that I take care of myself, but I by no means going to go out and preach to everybody and say this is how you need to be. I wish more people would just, find your own happiness, find your own health, find your own peace. But what's good for you isn't good for everyone. I wish more people understood that. And so, like for me, I definitely found my little slice of heaven. But we all can do a better job of taking a look at what we're eating, what we're drinking, the environment we're in, the relationships that we have, the both romantically and family wise or friendship or business. We all need to be constantly assessing, and I kind of want to close this out with this, and I'll give you guys an opportunity. But we all should constantly be assessing how we can improve ourselves. Learning new things. For me myself, a big thing that I learned that helped me was stoicism. Learning to keep my emotions in check when I'm trying to make very sound decisions in life, in investing, in anything, in relationships. Usually, an unemotional, logical approach yields the best results. When it comes to health, looking at the facts, what makes me feel better, of course, but assessing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, learning about different ways. Again, a simple thing like try removing vegetable oil from your diet. Download that app, look at the ingredients, remove that, see how you feel. If you feel better, awesome. Keep doing that. Now add to that. Find something else. Okay, maybe soy products or drink more water or whatever. Do one thing at a time. Do a measured, logical approach. Assess. Figure out, does this make me feel better? Am I thinking clearer? Am I, happier? Whatever it is. And if it does, if it's a positive effect, you adopt it. If it's a negative effect, then you don't adopt it. Move on to the next thing. But constantly be looking to improve mental, physical, emotional, relationship, financial, whatever. That is should be the focus of anyone's life. Jeff, go ahead.
That's nice. Yeah, closing thoughts?
Yes.
Is that what little round? Yeah, just take these as an order of importance: air, water, like getting clean air every day. Not burning a bunch of candles and fragrances, getting clean water, getting good sunlight in the morning, and at night reducing blue lights and artificial lighting. Get some blue light blocking glasses when you're watching TV at night so it doesn't disrupt your sleep. EMFs, like don't talk with your phone up to your head. Make sure you get some like wired headphones because you don't want the Bluetooth or the AirPods because those actually send frequencies in between your head.
Live in a Faraday cage. Live in a Faraday cage.
Do what you can. Do what you can. Because I know we're bombarded by this shit. So, and this is where just do what you can and take small steps to implement these changes because doing it all at once can be overwhelming. And then lastly, food, and like I said, the seed oils, if you go out to restaurants, see if they can cook your stuff in extra virgin olive oil or some butter.
Avocado.
Make sure avocado oil, make sure it's not margarine. And also with the supplements, if you take a lot of supplements and you really are trying to reduce that, because you really want to get as much as you can from whole food sources, but I know a lot of the nutrients and stuff are stripped. So here's some steps on getting a good supplement or what to look for when buying supplements and taking them is where are they sourced from? Get the source, good source. What form is it? Because there's different forms of magnesium and all kinds of different creatines. So what kind of where the source, what form is it? Frequency, how long do you need to take that supplement for? The dose, like the dose is important, and duration. You don't want to take the supplement for a long time. You know, you don't want the body to be adapted to that. So it's use these things as tools and not a crutch, just like any other kind of medication. You don't want it to be dependent on for the rest of your life.
Oh no, absolutely. But you know, but yeah, I mean, if you're having issues, I would definitely explore homeopathic, remedies before resorting to pharmaceuticals, for sure. But yes, you definitely want to know, where they're sourced from, and those sorts of things. So
yeah.
So with as vocal as your friend has been, like, do they want to like say hello before we cash out, or let old
Oh,
Breezy?
I don't know. I
just think it's funny that you have like a whole crew that's like in the wings.
Yeah, they've been playing games and stuff and hanging out.
I wish I had a Dungeons and Dragons fucking group around.
Oh shit.
Like,
yeah, we got a pretty
I
cool
used
group of friends that come around and hang out and shoot the shit.
Well, dude, let's go ahead and cut this off so you can get back to your friends, man. I definitely appreciate you showing up, and I appreciate everybody putting up with me and my my drinking and being mouthy. But yeah, I hope people were able to get something from this episode, and definitely download that app, that Yuka app. I think it's YUKU. It's in the chat. I'll see if I can link it in the description. Download that.
It's
and
YUKA.
What's that?
It's YUKA.
Thank you. But yeah, just don't go balls deep. Don't jump in with both feet. Make small changes. Get more active, work out, download that app, start, eliminating things, and just see how it works for you. I mean, all you're going to do is make your quality of life better and potentially live longer, and, be a, much happier and healthier person. So with that,
it's a lifelong journey, man.
It is.
You don't have to do it all right now, but just building those habits is the most important thing, because that's where it'll last. You can incorporate all these things right now all you want, but if you don't have the habits to make them last and to keep that going, then 5 years you're just going to blow out from a bad diet. And
well, it takes 30 days to develop a habit. It's an actual scientific fact. It takes about 30 days to develop a good or bad habit. So, do something for 30 days. Eliminate vegetable oils for 30 days. And see how you feel. And if you feel better, awesome. Move on to the next thing. And just make small, metered changes. Don't, do a bunch of stuff, because you're not going to know what made you feel better and what potentially made you feel worse. Make small, gradual changes, and it will become ingrained in your life. So thank you, gentlemen. And with that,
awesome. Thank you, sir. Thanks, everyone.
Go out.
Thank you. Take care, guys.